moving on. What is... Right, this is a great question. This did make me laugh. What is your most strange experience in relation to sexual encounters? Now, for the sake of what little integrity I may or may not have, and for the sake of my viewers, I will avoid anything particularly graphic, but I feel obliged, just because the question did make me lol, I feel obliged to...
Yes, what is it?
Oh, go away, you silly man. I feel obliged to give you an answer of sorts anyway. I'm going to actually have to get rid of this, move away from this guy, because he's just going to stand there asking me questions until
if you need a drink or something to eat.
I go away, until he gets bored and leaves, which will probably take quite a while. So anyway, right. So anyway, yeah, here's the little story I could think of off the top of my head. Right, basically, I was at quite a couple of years ago now, maybe 3 years ago. It's difficult to remember, really. I was at a house party with a few friends and a whole bunch of other people that I didn't really know, and we were incredibly drunk, absolutely freaking plastered. And this girl there had obviously taken a great shine to one of the other blokes that was there. And I think they went off into, like, I think it was an airing cupboard or something. I don't really remember very well. You know, I was freaking plastered after all. And they went at it in this cupboard, and someone cottoned on to what they were doing in there. So they ran into sort of like the main living room bit of this little flat we were in. And like, guys, so-and-so and so-and-so are having sex in the cupboard or whatever like that. Which we all thought, naturally, was absolutely freaking hilarious. So we all went over there and sort of stood outside, and we actually pulled up the sofa, I think, and we all just sort of sat there, like, drinking away, until eventually they were finished, and they both came out, and we found out over the course of, while we were all sitting there, that the bloke in there was a virgin as well. So just to compound the impending embarrassment that was about to ensue. So eventually they finished, and after a few moments, they opened the door tentatively, because suddenly they've realised, I guess they realised that suddenly it's very quiet outside. So they opened the door, and instantly everyone there, about like 15, 20 people maybe, I think it was. I might be exaggerating that a little bit, but honestly, like I said, drunk, I can't remember. All just started cheering and burst into a round of applause, and it was so fucking hilarious. The guy, poor guy, I couldn't even remember who he was. I'm pretty bad with names as it is, and it was a long time ago. Poor guy looked like he just wanted to die. he just looked like he wanted a hole in the floor to open up and him to fall into it, into the depths of hell, and never see anyone ever again. You know, which was absolutely hilarious. I mean, he saw the funny side, obviously, there, but the poor guy just was so embarrassed. But yeah, that's the only story I can think of off the top of my head without getting too lewd. Wouldn't want the video blocked on YouTube or anything, after all. Like get flagged or something. So, anyway, next question. Where in England are you from? A nice short sweet one. I am from Northamptonshire, which is kind of like sort of southern Midlands kind of area in England. I've never been good trying to place where the different counties of England actually are on a map, but it's kind of sort of to the left of East Anglia, I think. Not entirely far from Cambridge, and well, anyway, yeah. So I live in Northamptonshire. I won't say which town. Well, actually, I live in Kettering, because nobody will have ever heard of the place. So, although we did appear in the news once because I think it was George Osborne mentioned that Kettering, some bypass near Kettering or something, was a work of sort of engineering achievement or something like that at a press conference, and everyone at the press conference burst out laughing because they, like I, are perfectly aware that Kettering is an absolute shithole and it's not an achievement of anything. So yeah, that's where I live. For all you stalkers out there. What's the next question? What games do you want to let's play? A couple of people asked me this along with slightly different phraseology. I think one asked, what games do you want to play? Let's play. Someone else asked, like, what games are you planning on let's playing? So I figured I'd all answer it as just one thing. At this point, I really don't freaking know. Well, I've got a general idea. I do, for example, Skyrim. Definitely on the cards. This will be done. This will be done. I've held it off for now because, well, I kind of wanted to wait out the initial barrage of Skyrim Let's Plays that were going to come out, obviously, after the game came out. And I also wanted to wait until lots and lots of nice mods came out for me to change up the game with and make it a lot more interesting and, in particular, RP friendly. And I discovered yesterday when I was watching Variax's stream that there's a pretty good alternate start mod out now, which allows you to choose different sort of start locations and situations for your character aside from the bog standard you're in the cart or on your way to be executed beginning. And I think you can even set it so that you aren't Dragonborn, so like when you walk up to those little word walls, nothing will happen, like you won't get all the mist and chanting and stuff like that, so that's kind of cool. Especially from an RP perspective. So yeah, Skyrim's definitely going to happen at some time. I don't know when, exactly. Perhaps when there's I get to a lull in the Morrowind Let's Play, quite possibly. When I finish the next character I'm doing, with that, when he dies, and I would have to go to another character, I might just sort of pause the Let's Play for a bit, and then I might do like another one, be it Skyrim or something else for a bit, and then I'll get back to it. The Morrowind one, I imagine, it's going to be going on for quite a long time. I will keep coming back to that pretty much whenever I just feel like playing Morrowind, I think, really. Which is quite often. So, yeah. Other things to Let's Play. Shogun 2 Total War, particularly Fall of the Samurai, will definitely be done at some point. I have not played a lot of Fall of the Samurai, just because I haven't had time, even though I've got it. But I did play the vanilla Shogun 2 quite a lot. I have Rise of the Samurai as well, but I've not played that at all either. So some Shogun 2 will probably be on the cards. I would love to do, actually, some Roma Surrectum, which is a pretty awesome mod for Rome Total War, which I actually, very briefly, was on the development team for. Believe it or not. And that would be quite fun if it weren't for the fact that I cannot, for the life of me, get Roma Surrectum to run with my Steam version of Rome Total War. I know you're supposed to be able to do it, but every time I've tried to install it, it just wouldn't work, It's very bizarre, but nothing I can do about that. I've got a whole crap ton of other games. I have a lot of games. Most of them, in fact, probably all of them on Steam. I have stuff like I have Kingdoms of Amalur. I have L.A. Noire. I have both the Witcher games. All of which, by the way, except for I think Kingdoms of Amalur, I haven't played at all. I have a lot of games at the minute, really, which I've not actually got around to playing because I've got them, and because I don't really have a crap ton of free time to do just straight out gaming in. I never actually got around to playing them yet. I've also got Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, which I just finished installing yesterday, finally, which was a bit of a nightmare, actually. It's a new copy that's like the 4-in-1 set, but I actually had to go launch my computer in safe mode to install the original Baldur's Gate, 'cause it's so old it just would not recognise Windows 7 at all. It was a bit crazy. So yeah, there's those. I've got Hidden and Dangerous 2 knocking about here somewhere, which I bought recently, which I would quite like to do. That could be quite a fun one, because Hidden and Dangerous 2 is, much like its predecessor, a sort of squad-based tactical shooter set in World War II. And it has a lot more. I prefer it to the original. It's more updated. It has slightly better graphics. It has a lot of RPG elements in it as well, which is quite fun, and it's very, very realistic. It's almost like a World War II version of Armour, quite in some places. So that's quite good, and I'd like to do that at some point, and that could actually be quite fun, because one of the things you can do is you can rename any of the team members that you select to whatever you want. So at some point, it might be quite fun, I thought, to actually do that, and rename my team members to various different subscribers that wanted to do it, which might be quite fun. I don't know. That's something I'd thought about anyway. What else? Oh, there's I do have a lot of games, and one of the things I think about doing was I've decided that it'd be quite fun to do something on the weekends. you know, just on the weekends, like on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever. One of the ideas I came up with was, because I do have a lot of games, what I could do is just like a let's randomly play thing. Like every Saturday or Sunday or whatever, I will upload a video of me playing just a game that I happen to have that I feel like playing. You know, it'd be a different game every week, and from those, like, depending on what people like and stuff like that, might even turn into a full-blown, like, let's play series of some particular games that come up in there that people like and that are particularly fun, you know, so stuff like that. So I've been thinking about doing that, but we'll see what happens, really. We'll see when that happens, or if it happens, or whatever, you know. So Crusader Kings 2 as well is actually something I'd quite like to do at some point. A fantastic game. It's by Paradox Interactive, the guys who made Hearts of Iron, and it's basically a medieval. It's like a medieval family simulator type thing. It's very bizarre. It's like it's set out a bit like a Hearts of Iron or Europe Universalis or something like that, where you have like a map of like medieval Europe or whatever. But you don't play as a country. You play as a character. You play as, say, a king or a baron or a duke or whoever, a particular guy, and you control him and his sort of like his family and stuff like that. And like when he dies, you take over his heir, whether that's his daughter or son or whoever, or maybe his brother or whoever inherits his, you know, quote unquote throne. And you basically go through all these plots and machinations and wars and stuff like that, and you vie for power and try to get more powerful and more rich and stuff like that with your dynasty, with your family. And it's really, really fun, quite addictive as well. It's a definite favourite of mine. I'd quite like to do something with that at some point. It's pretty cool. I do like Paradox games, but Crusader Kings 2, which came out very, very recently, definitely one of my favourites, even compared to, say, like Hearts of Iron or something like that. It's sort of it's actually a good way of describing it would be if you're familiar with Game of Thrones, whether it's the books by, you know, George R.R. Martin, or whether it's the TV show, and you know how you have all those sort of like court intrigues and political machinations and stuff, all that going on, where they're all backstabbing each other and this, that, and the other. Crusader Kings 2 is almost like a Game of Thrones simulator. That's sort of what it's like, you know. It's that kind of a deal. So yeah, in fact, I think someone's made a Game of Thrones mod for it, which should be quite awesome when it's fully finished, stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, the top of my head, that's all the things I can think about in terms of future Let's Plays. So, next question on the list. Let me get it up. Hang on, there. Next one, running from what games do you want to Let's Play? What is your favourite game of all time? Now, since I've already said about how difficult it is for me to pick a favourite anything, this is a very difficult question. So I judged it basically on the criteria that I set forth before. Basically, what I play, watch, read the most, and the answer I think would probably be it's a toss-up, I think, at the end of the day between, say, I think Morrowind and Hearts of Iron 2, really. At the end of the day, there's the two games I play the most and come back to the most often. Although Skyrim, I think, is rapidly, in terms of numbers of hours played now, often I play it, is catching up very, very fast. I've had this game since the day it came out, and I've not put it down since, really. I'm still playing it. I've put, like, well over 300 hours into it, and I've still not completed any of the guilds. I've only done the main quest once, and I've done the Stormcloaks, and that is it. The rest of it is just being sort of me sort of derping around and digging about and sort of RPing and, you know, just kind of that stuff. I think that's a measure of just how awesome this game is, that you can still have so much fun with it without even doing any of the quests, you know. So yeah, Skyrim is definitely creeping up behind the others. Despite it being such a new game, I absolutely adore it. I would list it as one of my all-time favourite games. So yeah, but I would say probably either Morrowind or Hearts of Iron. I think probably Morrowind, since I've played it for I've had it for longer and played it for longer. It's nigh on, well, it'll be almost 9-10 years now I've had Morrowind and been playing it on and off. And even in Morrowind, I've still not done all the guilds and all the quests and things like that. It's such a huge game. So I think Morrowind would probably be if you forced me to choose one game, Morrowind would be my all-time favourite, really, at the end of the day. So, yeah, what's... the next question, were you good at school? Interesting. You can read this one of two ways. You can read it as sort of being, were you good at school as in, did I get good grades and stuff? Or was I well behaved at school? If you talk about the first thing, I would say, well, my grades were alright, I guess. They kind of... my GCSEs were alright. My A-levels were less than stellar, I must admit. It kind of... And same with sort of my general behaviour. I was very well behaved early on in school, but as I got sort of like to later years and then eventually into sixth form, my behaviour, as it were, sort of completely deteriorated, really, along with my grades at the end of the day. You know, I was quite truant. I didn't turn up very often for a lot of lessons that I just didn't like doing because they were boring or whatever and stuff like that. Which I do not condone in any way, because it's come back to bite me in the arse when you get out there into the real world and you need to find a job and stuff like that, or you need to apply for university. It's a big problem. So, yeah, that's, I suppose, the best answer I can give you, really. Next question is, right, if the amount of... This is brilliant, by the way. This made me lol my ass off, this did. If the amount of subscribers, you could get was locked at 500 until you sacrificed a baby walrus, would you do it? And I had thought very long and hard about this deep philosophical, metaphysical, theological question that you've asked me here. And my answer is, for various reasons, my answer is no, I would not sacrifice the baby walrus. I believe that the sanctity of life is very important. I also believe that getting a good frame rate when Fraps is screwing around is important too, so hold on. Right, there we go. God, that's annoying sometimes. Anyway, I believe the sanctity of life is important, even when it comes to animals. Also, I'm not necessarily really in this for the subscribers. If it stayed at 500 forever, I don't think it would really make a difference. I would keep uploading and making videos after all at the end of the day. I mean, it'd be nice to get lots of subscribers, but it's not really why I do this, after all. It's not really a popularity contest, it's just fun, you know? And the third and more important reason, which is, I think the baby walrus's mother would have words to say about it, and I do not like the prospect of having to deal with an enraged mother walrus, you know, as they of course say in Antarctica, as it's well known, you know, hell hath no fury like a mother walrus, so, no, I would not sacrifice the baby walrus, and that is final, that is my final answer. Right, I just checked, and apparently the problem I was having was I was dangerously low on disk space, so, right, anyway, where was I? Yes, we answered the walrus question, which is fantastic. You need an award or a medal or something for that, because that was fantastic and creative, and I really enjoyed that. So anyway, next question is, what is your favourite type of music? And as you know, so far, judging by my other questions, I'm probably going to give you a cop-out answer, and yes, I am. I don't really have a favourite type of music. It really all kind of depends on what mood I happen to be in at the time and what I feel like listening to. But that said, most of the music I have would probably fall under, like, most of the albums I have would probably fall under sort of like heavy metal and stuff. Like, I have a crap ton of Judas Priest and AC/DC. I believe one of the other questions, the second question asked by this guy was, what is your favourite band or singer? And yeah, I think it would probably come down to three guys, I think. Well, three people. One would be probably Judas Priest, just because I listen to them the most, and I have the most of the stuff. AC/DC and Immortal Technique, which is a complete deviation from the other two, and he's this fantastic sort of self-published hip-hop artist in America. and he's pretty damn good. I absolutely love his music. I'm not massively into hip hop, but him, like the lyrics and stuff like that, and his songs and stuff like, I think are really interesting and very important and very relevant. You know, they're sort of politically speaking and socially and that kind of thing. A great guy. A friend of mine actually met him once, actually, and he seems like a fantastic bloke. So